This video ranks every Brawler in Brawl Stars from worst to best. Mina is finally here and it's about time we drop the greatest Brawl Stars meta tier list on YouTube. Now just a little disclaimer before the video starts. So just because a Brawler is placed one spot above another does not always mean that they're going to be overall stronger than the previous Brawler throughout the entire game. It is always going to depend on the comp, matchup, game mode, and map. Instead of raging in the comments about the specific placements, I would focus more on the placements of which tier the Brawlers are in for the overall tier list, which is ultimately more important. Sam is a bad Brawler now because his attacks are slow and require precise aim, making it difficult to apply consistent pressure. His super can be powerful, but is situational and often easy for opponents to avoid. Additionally, his low mobility and moderate health leave him vulnerable to faster, more aggressive brawlers. Edgar, aka the bad random brawler, sucks and always will because his low health makes him vulnerable to high damage or range brawlers. While his super allows for mobility, it doesn't provide enough protection and his damage output is inconsistent. He can be easily countered by tanks or brawlers with crowd control, making him less effective in many situations. Jessie is still not the greatest brawler because her damage output is low and her attack relies on bouncing to deal significant damage, which can be difficult to control. Her turret is useful but can be easily destroyed. She lacks mobility and can struggle in high pressure situations, and this makes her less effective in fast-paced or aggressive metas. Pam is also trash in the meta because her damage is spread out and inconsistent at range, making it hard to finish enemies. She's bulky but lacks mobility, making her an easy target. Her healing turret is useful but easy to destroy, and she doesn't perform well in fast-paced metas with high damage or assassin brawlers. Gil has never been the same since his hypercharge was nerfed. His damage output is low, and his attack can be difficult to land at a consistent range. His super, while useful for crowd control, doesn't deal enough damage to make a significant impact in most situations. Additionally, his lack of mobility and reliance on situational abilities makes him vulnerable against faster or high damage brawlers. El Primo is a bad brawler now because his short attack range makes it hard to deal consistent damage without getting dangerously close to enemies. His super can be predictable and easily avoided, limiting its impact in fights. Additionally, his slow movement and reliance on close range combat leave him vulnerable to faster or ranged brawlers. Colt is only popular among super skilled players because his damage output can be hard to land consistently, especially against faster agile enemies. His attack range is long, but it's difficult to control and hit targets at certain angles. Additionally, his low health makes him vulnerable in close combat, and he can easily be outmaneuvered by more mobile brawlers. Pearl is a bad brawler now because her attacks are slow and require precise aiming, making it difficult to deal consistent damage. Her super is situational and often doesn't provide a significant advantage in fights. Additionally, her low mobility and moderate health make her vulnerable to faster or more aggressive opponents. Leon is considered a bad brawler because he requires high skill and precise positioning to be effective. His close range attacks lose power at longer distances, and this makes him vulnerable to ranged enemies. His low health makes him less forgiving for less experienced players. Maisie struggles because her slow, hard to hit main attacks make her unreliable in fast-paced matches. She depends heavily on her super, which can be tough to charge and leaves her vulnerable when activated. These weaknesses make her less effective and situational compared to other brawlers. Nita is a bad brawler now because her attacks deal low damage and are easy for faster opponents to dodge, and this limits her effectiveness. Her bear summon can be helpful, but is often predictable and doesn't guarantee control in fights. Additionally, her moderate health and lack of mobility make her vulnerable in aggressive or high-paced matches. Shelly is generally considered a bad brawler in Brawl Stars because she's a beginner-friendly one. She can struggle in higher-level play because her attack range is short and her damage falls off at longer distances. As the meta evolves with faster, higher-damage brawlers, Shelly can be outclassed in more competitive settings, especially against ranged or mobile brawlers. Surge is a weak brawler now because his attacks are short-range and require precise aim to be effective, limiting his damage output. His upgrades and super can provide advantages, but they are situational and often difficult to capitalize on in fast-paced matches. Additionally, his moderate health and reliance on positioning make him vulnerable to more aggressive or mobile opponents. Abe is a bad brawler now because his slow movement makes him easy to outmaneuver, limiting his effectiveness in fast-paced matches. While his attacks do decent damage, they require precise aim and don't offer much utility beyond raw damage. Additionally, his super is situational, and his low mobility and moderate health leave him vulnerable to more agile opponents. Chuck is mainly good in Heist because his super lets him quickly teleport and deal burst damage, making him effective at rushing the safe. However, in other modes, His dashing can be risky, and the damage isn't consistent against players, so he struggles with control and survivability. Grom is extremely overrated these days because his attack is slow, hard to aim, and easy to dodge. He relies heavily on prediction, struggles in close range fights, and has low health. If enemies get close, he is usually outmatched, making him unreliable in many modes. Dynamite is a subpar brawler now because his attacks are slow and easy for agile opponents to dodge, limiting his damage output. His super can be powerful, but it's situational and requires precise timing to be effective. Additionally, his low health and lack of mobility make him vulnerable in fast-paced matches, reducing his overall impact. Poco is a weak brawler because he is very low damage and can't secure kills on his own. He is vulnerable to high burst damage or fast enemies due to his lack of mobility. His effectiveness depends heavily on staying close to teammates, making him unreliable in solo or poorly coordinated matches. Penny struggles due to low damage and slow reload, and this makes her weak in direct fights. She relies heavily on her cannon for damage, which can be easily destroyed or poorly placed. This dependence limits her overall effectiveness in matches. Max is a weak brawler now because her attacks deal relatively low damage, making it hard to secure eliminations against tougher opponents. Her super provides speed boost, but it doesn't directly increase her damage output, and this limits her impact in fights. Additionally, her moderate health and reliance on teammates for support make her less effective in solo or aggressive plays. Ali is a bad brawler now because her attacks deal low damage and are difficult to land consistently against agile opponents. Her super is situational and often doesn't turn the tide of fights. Additionally, her low health and limited mobility make her vulnerable in fast-paced or aggressive matches. Fang has been awful for a long time now, mostly because his attack range is short, making him vulnerable at a distance. His super can be difficult to use effectively, and he has low health, making him easier to defeat in close combat. Additionally, his overall damage output isn't reliable in most situations, leaving him underwhelming in many modes. Clancy is still terrible despite the recent buffs because his attack is slow and hard to hit, making it difficult to deal consistent damage. His super is also tricky to use effectively, and he lacks mobility and survivability. Overall, he struggles against faster, more aggressive brawlers and doesn't fit well in most team comps. Lola is considered a weaker brawler because she requires high skill and precise timing to use effectively. Her limited mobility makes her vulnerable to aggressive opponents. She often relies on gadgets for defense, which can limit her overall viability in many game modes. Ems is another overrated brawler these days because her damage output is inconsistent and her attack range is fairly inconsistent. While her super can deal area damage, it's hard to land effectively and she struggles against fast or high damage brawlers. Additionally, her lack of mobility makes her vulnerable in fast-paced situations. Sprout is considered a weak brawler due to low health and slow speed, and this makes him easy to defeat against fast enemies. His reliance on precise gadget use and walls can be countered by brawlers with wall breaking or burst damage. His hypercharge doesn't significantly boost his overall effectiveness, leaving him less viable in the current meta. Rosa is another overrated brawler that's beloved amongst lower skilled players because her damage output is low, and while her shield provides some protection, it doesn't make her effective in fast-paced or ranged combat. She struggles against long-range brawlers and lacks mobility, making her less useful in many game modes. Miko is slightly better now because his attack speed and damage have been improved, making it easier to land hits and apply consistent pressure. His super feels more reliable, allowing him to support teammates more effectively in fights. While he's not the most mobile or tanky brawler, these changes give him a bit more presence in matches and make him less of a liability. Colette is a good anti-tank brawler due to her ability to deal damage based on enemy health, allowing her to effectively target high health brawlers and objectives. Her super lets her deal significant burst damage, and this makes her useful in certain situations like damaging tanks or in heist. However, her low health and vulnerability in close range combat can make her fragile in battle. Eve is not bad in the current meta because of her versatile attacks that deal area damage and her ability to spawn hatchlings with her super, which can provide continuous pressure on enemies. Her range and mobility are solid, making her effective in controlling space. However, her health is relatively low and her damage output can be inconsistent at times. Spike is now considered a subpar brawler because despite his burst damage and area control, his low health makes him very fragile. His attacks can hit multiple enemies, but relying on precise positioning often limits his impact. While his super can punish enemies, it's situational, so he struggles to consistently influence fights compared to other brawlers. Chester is a subpar brawler now because his attacks are slow and require precise aim, making it difficult to deal consistent damage. His super can be situational and often doesn't provide a decisive advantage in fights. Additionally, his moderate health and low mobility leave him vulnerable to faster or more aggressive opponents. Griff is a subpar brawler now because his attacks have limited range and require precise timing, making it hard to deal consistent damage. His super can be situational and doesn't always create a significant advantage in fights. Additionally, his moderate health and lack of mobility leave him vulnerable to faster, more aggressive brawlers. Sandy is still not bad due to his area control with his super, which creates a sleep-inducing sandstorm that can disable enemies in a large area. His high damage output with his attack allows him to be effective in both long range and close range combat. However, his low health and reliance on his super to disrupt enemies can make him vulnerable if caught out of position. Mandy is a subpar brawler now because her attacks are slow and require precise aiming, making it difficult to deal consistent damage. Her super can control space, but is situational and often avoidable by skilled opponents. Additionally, her moderate health and lack of mobility make her vulnerable to faster or more aggressive brawlers. Nani is considered a weak brawler because her low health makes her vulnerable to fast and aggressive opponents. Her attacks require precise aiming, and missing shots can leave her exposed and ineffective. Her super, while powerful, can be difficult to use effectively without good positioning and timing, and this will limit her impact in many matches. Meg is a subpar brawler now because her attacks require precise aim and have limited range, making it difficult to consistently deal damage. Her super and gadget abilities are situational, so they don't always provide a significant advantage in fights. Additionally, her low mobility and moderate health make her vulnerable to faster or more aggressive opponents. Trunk struggles because his attack damage doesn't scale well against tanky opponents, making him weak in close range fights. His slow movement and attack speed make it easy for faster brawlers to dodge or punish him. Additionally, his super is situational and rarely has the impact needed to turn the tide of a match. Jackie is a subpar brawler because her close range attacks can be risky, leaving her vulnerable to faster or ranged opponents. While her counter crush star power and tanky build offer some survivability, they aren't enough to make her consistently impactful. Her hypercharge provides mobility and crowd control, but is situational and often doesn't turn the tide in higher level matches. BB has become a bit stronger thanks to her recent buffs, which increased her attack damage and made her swings more powerful. Her improved knockback gives her better control in close range fights, allowing her to disrupt enemies more effectively. Additionally, the buffs to her super makes it easier to charge and use strategically, enhancing her presence in both solo and team modes. Buzz can be pretty annoying because of his strong control abilities and ability to stun enemies with his super, which allows him to initiate fights or escape danger. His high mobility and consistent damage at close range makes him effective in tight situations. However, his low range and reliance on getting close to enemies can make him vulnerable to long range brawlers or when outnumbered. Stu is an average brawler now because his fast attacks and high mobility allow him to pressure enemies and dodge incoming damage effectively. His super provides quick repositioning, letting him escape or engage as needed. In fights. While he isn't overpowered, his speed and versatility make him a reliable option in various game modes. Rico is still a good option on maps with lots of walls due to his bouncing attack, which allows him to hit multiple enemies at once or attack around obstacles. Rico's super fires several shots that bounces off of walls, making it effective for area denial and disrupting enemy positioning. However, his low health can leave him vulnerable, especially when he's caught off guard or out of position. Frank is a decent brawler because of his high health and strong damage. His super stuns enemies, giving him a strategic advantage. With useful gadgets and star powers, he's effective and tough in many game modes. Mo is a good brawler because his super lets him quickly reposition and deal heavy damage. His main attack can hit multiple enemies, adding to his burst potential. With the right star power and gadget, he excels in aggressive play, especially in game modes like Brawl Ball and Gem Grab. Even though Daryl fell off slightly, he is still decent due to his high damage output with his shotgun style attack and his ability to roll using his super, which allows him to move quickly and deal damage to enemies in his path. However, his reliance on getting close to enemies and vulnerability to range brawlers can be a disadvantage. Jan is a decent brawler because her super lets her fly over obstacles and deal area damage, helping her control space. Her versatile attack and mobility make her effective in battles. With the right gadgets and star powers, she excels in game modes like Gem Grab and Knockout. Piper's been great for a long time because of her long range, high damage attacks that can deal massive burst damage when hitting enemies at a distance. Piper excels in open maps where her range and ability to quickly eliminate squishy brawlers shine, and this makes her especially effective in modes like Bound and Heist where precision and positioning are key. Brock is an average brawler now because his long range attacks can deal good damage, but his slow reload makes it hard to maintain pressure. His super can control space and force enemies to reposition, yet it's situational and often easy to avoid. While he has decent burst potential, his low health and reliance on positioning keep him from being consistently dominant. Larry and Laurie are still so annoying to face because of their unique dual attacks that provide both close range and area control. Their super can create additional pressure on enemies by having them attack from different angles, which makes them versatile in many situations. However, their vulnerability in close combat and low health can make them easy to counter by faster or higher damage brawlers. Bo is a bit better these days due to his hypercharge, his strong area control with his mines, which can trap and damage enemies, and this makes him effective at defending objectives and creating map control. His super provides a long-range stun, disrupting enemies and supporting his team in crucial moments. However, his low mobility and vulnerability in close combat makes him less effective against faster or more mobile brawlers. Belle is great in the meta thanks to her long-range attacks, damage chaining mechanics, and strong utility. Her main attack can hit multiple enemies by bouncing, making her great for controlling grouped up opponents. Her super marks the target to take extra damage from all sources, and this allows it to make it easier to burst down key threats. Barley is decent in the meta due to his area damage and ability to control space with his splash attacks. His super can block off paths and deal continuous damage over time, which makes him effective for zoning and disrupting enemy movements. However, his low health and lack of mobility makes him vulnerable in close combat, and his attacks require precise positioning. Tick is still extremely annoying because of his area control with his explosive attacks, which makes him effective at zoning enemies and denying space. His long range allows him to deal consistent damage from a safe distance. However, his low health and lack of mobility makes him vulnerable to faster high damage brawlers. Lou is a decent brawler now because his attacks can control space effectively with slowing effects, allowing him to hinder enemy movement. His super provides area control and can turn skirmishes in his team's favor when used strategically. While not overpowered, his durability and utility makes him a reliable choice in multiple game modes. Mortis fell off slightly in the current meta. His high mobility and ability to quickly dash around the battlefield makes him excellent at evading attacks and flanking enemies. His super allows him to dash even further, enabling quick escapes or aggressive attacks. However, his low damage output and fragileness makes him vulnerable in direct combat, especially against brawlers with higher health or ranged attacks. Willow is now a decent brawler because her slowing damage over time attacks give her solid area control. Her super can still influence fights, helping her team gain the upper hand in key moments. With her hypercharge providing invulnerability, speed, and extra damage, she can contribute more reliably in ranked matches without being overpowered. Melody is a decent brawler thanks to her unique rhythm-based attacks that deal damage over time. Her super boosts mobility by letting her dash across the battlefield, increasing offensive pressure. With the right build, she gains extra speed and a shield, making her effective in modes like Heist and Brawl Ball. Ash is a decent brawler because his rage mechanic boosts his speed and damage during fights. His super summons robotic rats that disrupt enemies and help charge his rage. With useful gadgets and star powers, he excels in close combat, especially in modes like Brawl Ball and Gem Grab. Barry is a decent brawler because his super controls space by damaging enemies and healing teammates with a trail of melted ice cream. His star power helps him reload faster when standing on his puddles, boosting his healing and damage. This makes him great for supporting teammates and controlling the battlefield. Doug is a decent hybrid support brawler who heals allies while dealing damage, making him versatile in team fights. His super can revive a fallen teammate, often turning the tide of a match. With high health and strong close range presence, Doug excels on tight maps and in modes where teammates stay grouped. Meepo is considered a subpar brawler in Brawl Stars due to several gameplay limitations. His main attack while homing has a slow reload and unload speed, and this makes him vulnerable during engagements. His low health and reliance on gadgets for effectiveness further hinder his performance in various game modes. Charlie's an average brawler now because her attacks deal moderate damage but lacks the range or speed to dominate fights consistently. Her super can be useful for area control, but is situational and doesn't always turn the tide of a match. While she has decent survivability, she doesn't excel in any particular role, making her reliable but not outstanding. Bull is now a decent brawler thanks to his high health and fast movement, which let him stay in fights longer. His super still allows him to charge through enemies and obstacles, providing occasional strategic opportunities. While not overpowered, his healing gadgets and survivability star powers make him a reliable frontline option in several game modes. Gray is a decent brawler because his super lets him and teammates teleport across the map for strategic plays. His gadget helps disarm enemies or finish off low health opponents, adding versatility. These abilities make him effective in multiple game modes. Shade is good in some situations because of their stealth abilities, allowing them to surprise enemies and avoid damage. Their attacks can deal solid area damage, and their super provides opportunities for flanking or escaping danger. However, their low health and reliance on stealth can make them risky to play, especially if they're caught out of position. Lily is a decent brawler thanks to her above average movement speed and her ability to build super when near enemies. Her attacks deal good damage up close, making her effective in skirmishes, especially when using her star powers. With a teleporting super and stealth oriented gadgets, she can pull off ambushes and surprise plays, though her impact is situational. Draco is a decent brawler now because his attacks deal solid damage at mid range, making him effective in skirmishes. His super provides area control and can disrupt enemies, giving his team strategic advantages. While not overpowered, his balanced stats and utility utility make him a reliable option in multiple game modes. Gene is a decent brawler because his super can pull enemies, disrupting their plans and helping his team. He excels at crowd control and supporting teammates in key game modes like gem grab and knockout. With the right gadgets and star powers, Gene is effective at controlling space and turning fights around. Lumi is a decent brawler now because her attacks can deal steady damage while applying crowd control effects, making her effective at slowing and pressuring enemies. Her super provides utility by disrupting opponents and creating opportunities for her team. While not overpowered, her balanced stats and versatile abilities make her a reliable choice in various game modes. Buster is still solid because of his high close range damage, strong area control, and defensive capabilities. His super creates a shield that blocks incoming projectiles, making him great for pushing objectives and protecting teammates. Buster shines in modes like Brawl Ball, where his tankiness and crowd control can turn the tides of the battle. Gus is solid because of his supportive capabilities, consistent chip damage, and healing utility. His main attack charges up a healing ghost that can restore health to himself or teammates, while his super provides a strong shield for protection. Gus excels in team modes like Gem Grab and Brawl Ball. Squeak is still great due to his ability to deal consistent area damage and control space with his sticky bombs. His main attack can hit multiple enemies and his super creates a large explosion, dealing significant damage over a wide area. Squeak excels in controlling choke points and forcing enemies into unfavorable positions, and this makes him effective in a lot of game modes. Angelo is a decent brawler because of his strong long-range attacks and high mobility. His super creates a damaging toxic area that boosts his arrows, giving him an edge in fights. With useful gadgets and star powers, he excels in modes like Bounty and Heist, where positioning and range damage matter. Carl is a strong brawler because his pickaxe work well at both close range and long range, and this gives him great versatility. His super gadgets provide strong mobility, helping him control the battlefield. With good health and survivability tools, he excels in modes like Heist, Gem Grab, and Brawl Ball. Mr. P is more annoying than ever in this meta because of his ability to apply constant pressure and control the map. His main attack can bounce over obstacles, making it easier to hit enemies hiding behind cover. His super spawns Porter Boss that harasses and distracts opponents, forcing them to deal with multiple threats. Otis is a decent brawler thanks to his strong support and crowd control abilities. His super silences enemies, stopping them from attacking or using abilities for 3 seconds. With his gadget and star power, he can control areas and increase his damage output, making him versatile in battle. Hank is a good brawler now because his attacks deal solid damage at mid-range, allowing him to apply consistent pressure on enemies. His super can control space and disrupt opponents, giving his team strategic advantages in fights. Additionally, his durability and gadgets makes him a reliable frontline option in both solo and team-based game modes. RT is a good brawler now because his attacks deal consistent damage at mid-range, allowing him to pressure enemies effectively. His super provides strong crowd control and can turn fights in his team's favor when used strategically. Additionally, his mobility and durability make him a reliable pick in both solo and team-based game modes. Amber is a good brawler now because her continuous fire attacks can deal consistent damage over time, making her effective at controlling zones. Her super allows her to cover large areas and pressure enemies, creating strategic opportunities for her team. Additionally, her mobility and range let her stay safe while applying damage, making her a strong pick in both solo and team modes. Ruffs is a good brawler now because his attacks deal solid damage at mid-range, allowing him to pressure enemies effectively. His super provides mobility and shields for teammates, making him valuable in both offensive pushes and defensive plays. Additionally, his star powers and gadgets enhance survivability and crowd control, giving him a reliable presence in a variety of game modes. Juju is a good brawler now because her attacks deal steady damage while applying pressure from a safe distance. Her super allows her to control zones and disrupt enemy movements, giving her team a strategic advantage. Additionally, her gadgets and star powers enhance survivability and utility, making her a reliable pick in various game modes. B is a strong brawler in Brawl Stars because she deals massive burst damage at long range and reloads quickly. Her gadgets and super slow enemies, giving her excellent control over the battlefield. Despite being fragile, her star powers provide protection and extra chances, making her deadly in skilled hands. Finks is better now due to his unique time manipulation abilities. He fires 3 projectiles, with the center one dealing more damage, making him effective in both single target and spread damage situations. Additionally, his gadgets and star powers enhances versatility. However, his gadgets and star powers enhances his versatility with options for mobility and crowd control. Getting buffed definitely helped him the most though. Tara is a good brawler now because her attacks can hit multiple enemies at once, allowing her to apply steady damage and control the battlefield. Her super can group opponents together, creating opportunities for team combos and decisive plays. Additionally, her gadgets and star powers enhance her survivability and utility, making her a reliable choice in various game modes. Crow is a good brawler now because his poison attacks deal consistent damage over time, allowing him to weaken enemies while staying safe at a distance. His high mobility let him dodge attacks and control the battlefield effectively. Additionally, his super can disrupt opponents and finish off low health targets, making him a strong pick in both solo and team modes. Kid is a good brawler now because his rapid attacks can deal consistent damage, allowing him to pressure enemies effectively. His super provides area control and can disrupt opponents, creating opportunities for his team. Additionally, his mobility and gadgets enhance his survivability, making him a reliable pick in various game modes. Kenji is a decent brawler in Brawl Stars due to his consistent damage output, solid mobility from his super, and versatile gadgets and star powers that enhances his survivability and control. He performs especially well in 1v1 modes like duos, where his balance kit allows him to outplay opponents. Cordelius is still meta due to his high mobility, burst damage, and crowd control abilities. His super sends him and an enemy to the Shadow Realm, providing increased speed and reload time, which also allows him to escape or disrupt the enemy. While he has a high skill ceiling, Cordelius can be very effective in skilled hands, especially in modes like Knockout or Wipeout. Ollie's a good brawler now because his attacks deal consistent damage at mid-range, allowing him to pressure enemies effectively. His hypercharge enhances his attacks, increasing both speed and damage, which makes him more impactful in fights. Additionally, his mobility and versatile playstyle let him contribute reliably in both solo and team-based modes. Jaeyoung is a flexible support brawler who can switch between boosting ally speed and healing them. His attack adapts depending on his mode, and this makes him great for different situations. His super lets him quickly change between these modes to keep his team strong and mobile. Byron is a good brawler now because his attacks can both heal allies and damage enemies, giving him strong versatility in fights. His hypercharge enhances his effectiveness by boosting his healing and attack output, allowing him to heal his team while pressuring opponents. Additionally, his range and consistent support make him a valuable pick in team-based modes. Bonnie is a strong brawler thanks to her high burst damage and ability to control space with splash attacks. Her versatility allows her to perform well across many maps and game modes. With effective gadget and gear combinations, she becomes both aggressive and durable in ranked play. Kaze is a versatile brawler with two distinct forms, Geisha and Ninja, offering unique attacks and mobility. Her abilities let her deal damage, blind enemies, and control the battlefield while staying elusive. With gadgets and star powers that boost healing, invisibility, and speed, she adapts well to different playstyles. Mina is a strong brawler because her main attack lets her deal consistent damage while also keeping pressure on enemies at mid-range. Her gadget and super give her great mobility and survivability, allowing her to dive in, secure a takedown, and quickly escape. On top of that, her star powers provide flexibility, letting players choose between extra healing or stronger offensive potential depending on the match. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about the tier list. I'm ready to debate all the peak gold mains in the comments down below, so bring it on.